Hi everyone, Drini here, and welcome to my channel. So with crypto and blockchain-based technology really providing a lot of life-generating wealth, not only do a lot of people, both newcomers and even the old-timers, have to navigate through its price volatility, this new industry has also given rise to hundreds if not thousands of crypto influencers out there. These crypto influencers really come from very different backgrounds, which makes it very confusing because as a first-timer or somebody who wants to follow information correctly, how do you navigate through this space where the moment you type a particular cryptocurrency, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's a particular altcoin, etc., you have hundreds, if not thousands, of search results coming from various individuals in this space. So as somebody who has been around for a while in the crypto space, after watching and listening to so many influencers out there, we can actually categorize crypto influencers into 5 main types. Some of these classifications that I'm going to show you, of course, when it applies to the particular influencer that you follow, they may be blurring the lines, so to speak, but overall, they do have a dominant characteristic for the particular content that they showcase. So let's dive into YouTube in order for me to properly demonstrate the 5 types of influencers in the cryptocurrency space. And let's dive in. So the first type of crypto influencer, and arguably the worst one of them all, are what we call the Moonboys. And what better way to properly illustrate what a Moonboy is but to highlight the perfect example here, which is the moon. When you look at the type of videos that these guys have, there are a couple of primary characteristics with the content that they put out. The first one is they are trying to elicit as much of an emotional reaction from you by your usual all caps headlines, very hyperbolic statements when it comes to what they're saying about Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency that they're trying to showcase. And also, of course, you have your trademark open mouth thumbnail here that honestly looks really, really stupid. So the most important thing to note about Moonboys is they are leveraging on the fact that they can get you to emotionally respond to their particular content, either to make you FOMO back in to a particular coin or particular token or particular project, or to make you bail so that they can buy things at a lower price. The key thing to note about these Moonboys is it is very important for you to understand that these people are garbage people. They do not care about you at all. The whole purpose of this whole spiel is to get as many views as they can so that you can pump up their bags and you are the exit liquidity. Following them makes for great entertainment because, of course, you have hyper emotional and hyper irrational people talking to a camera. But at the end of the day, if you really want life generational wealth, do not follow these guys nor adhere to any of their advice because honestly, you are gonna go nowhere. The second type of crypto influencer are what I call mercenaries. Mercenaries, or what I call paid shills, are pretty much crypto influencers who do not have any loyalty to a particular chain. They are not guided by principles. Instead, they are using their clout, they are using the success that they've gained because of having a large following to get paid sponsorships from crypto projects in order to keep shilling these projects, either to pump their bags or to pump the projects that they are working with. BitBoy Crypto, of course, is the perfect example of a mercenary where he keeps talking about and shilling these projects, for example, and it may appear that he is just trying to educate the community as to what's out there. But if you actually take a look closely, most of the projects here are paid partnerships or paid sponsorships with those particular projects. And the best part is because there is no regulation around crypto yet, he does not have to declare that. If you watch this video by CoffeeZilla on how much does it cost to promote a crypto scam, you can find that a lot of these large channel crypto influencers have their own packages for projects to take note of if they want to work with that particular crypto influencer. They have various rate cards for different types of videos, whether or not it's an exclusive video covering their project, whether it's an interview with a particular project holder, etc., etc. Mercenaries are not necessarily bad because sometimes you do find some projects that are quite good or align with what you believe in when it comes to the future of cryptocurrency. But just take note that these mercenaries are not in it for your benefit. They want you to pump their bags. They want you to confirm that they have a large following and that they have a lot of influence in the space so that these projects' bags will get filled up. So once again, they are not standing by you, the community, and instead they are out there for their personal gain. So that's for bigger channels. For smaller channels, how you can tell it's a mercenary is when they keep jumping from game to game or they keep jumping from project to project, hoping to land a particular level of viewership that will make it sustainable for their channel to keep growing. Crypto King is an example of this, where he covers multiple games at once, and there's a lot of clickbait when it comes to this type of content. Why? Again, because they are mercenaries. They hop from project to project, trying to entice you into eventually subscribing to them. And the risk here is, of course, that whatever they are recommending, they are either paid to shill that particular project, or they are just engagement or content farming in order for you to subscribe to their channel. So the first two crypto influencer types are pretty much the rotten apples in the space. The next three tend to be more positive for the crypto space in general. The third type of crypto influencer are what I call the loyalists. Loyalists are crypto influencers who really have fallen in love with a particular project that they almost cover it 100%. This actually comes at the cost of a particular revenue stream for them, because if they only cover specific projects, it means they are foregoing potential opportunities to cover something else because of the faith and belief that they have for a particular project. Crypto Capital Venture, for example, is one of the best examples of a loyalist because he truly believes of Cardano's future. So if you notice, apart from Bitcoin, of course, the only other space that he operates in is in Cardano. So it's all Cardano, whether it's projects within Cardano that are launching, Cardano itself, the constant discussions that they have with his audience on Cardano, and sometimes Bitcoin. Sometimes you have a lot of news here, but you know what his channel stands for. So he is definitely a Cardano loyalist. Bulldog, for example, is one of the best channels for Splinterlands because he really takes his time to dive into anything in relation to Splinterlands. Almost 90% of his content deals with Splinterlands and goes very deep on how do you optimize your experience with the game, whether it's through the playing aspect of it, whether it's through the investment aspect of it. It doesn't matter. You know that Bulldog is a loyalist for Splinterlands and sometimes other games, but mostly this is his key focus area for the crypto space. So the good thing about following loyalists is they are primarily a source of deep, detailed information for the project that you're interested in. Because they mostly follow key events for that particular project 24/7, it really allows you to share in their knowledge for that particular project, strengthening your conviction when it comes to you having the right choice or keeping abreast of all of the news so that you can prepare yourself to be in the perfect position to eventually reap the rewards once things blow up. The weakness, of course, for this type of crypto influencer is because of their strong bias for a particular project, of course, they will always lean very bullish for that particular project. As already demonstrated, for example, by the beginning of this bear market, their particular conviction does not necessarily lead to price action. Sometimes, even though you're very, very biased, you really, really like a particular project, there are times where you really have to step back a little bit, let the price action play out, and plan opportunities to come in. The loyalist will not be able to tell you when that situation will happen, when that opportunity arises, because once again, the focus for their channel is really talking about detailed information about the project that you're interested in. The fourth type of crypto influencer are what I call the educator class or the educators. Coin Bureau is one of the best educators in this space. Educators are a mix of both diving into a particular project and having a commentary on the particular project, whether it's evaluating certain projects as to what's happening in the space, a light critique on what works and what doesn't work. The second part is also providing news about the crypto space as a whole. So the difference between a loyalist and an educator is an educator tends to have a broader coverage within the crypto space, whereas the loyalist really focuses on just one aspect of it. So you can imagine that while Coin Bureau, for example, is able to dive into multiple projects or multiple coins at once, there's an inherent weakness to only following Coin Bureau. Sometimes his criticism or sometimes his coverage for a particular project is not deep enough. And that is because their attention has to be very broad instead of very narrow. So just take that into account. Not everything that Coin Bureau says is universally true, because there are certain nuances to what's happening with certain projects that only a loyalist or only diving into white papers, the actual news, the actual releases from those projects will ultimately give you. However, educators like Coin Bureau are very, very good at really introducing you to new projects that you may not have heard of that are currently up and coming in the space. This is the ultimate utility of educator YouTube channels. Cryptos Are Us is also an example of an educator channel, but it's a different kind of education. George focuses on a little bit of price action here and there, very light on it, but it's mostly covering the various news, the various crypto news on a daily basis. So sometimes he even streams twice a day. George is very good at really keeping abreast as to what is happening in the crypto space, whether or not it's the external factors that affect the crypto space, certain economic events that are potentially going to impact the price of Bitcoin and the price of other cryptos, and or just answering community questions about the crypto space in general. That is the value of the educators. The main weakness of the educator class, of course, is while they are a very good source of news, they're not necessarily the best at interpreting price action and really having a solid plan when it comes to either entries, exits, etc. But otherwise, good educators in the space really give you sufficient knowledge on the space so you can always have an educated decision when it comes to investing in either Bitcoin or the rest of the space in general. And finally, the fifth influencer type is what I call the analyst. This channel, of course, is an analyst channel where we take a look at price action, focus on technical analysis. Sometimes we do critiques on the industry as a whole, but how you define an analyst is they tend to be quite neutral when it comes to the space and how they perceive the constant fluctuations of its value. Benjamin Cohen, of course, is one of the best analysts out there when it comes to analyzing Bitcoin, some of the major layer ones. One of the things that really defines an analyst is if their revenue stream does not come from paid sponsorships, instead it's either a membership so that you can have access to deeper types of analysis when it comes to price action so that you can plan your investments accordingly, or it's a strict no sponsorship decision, kind of like my channel, for example, where we do not have any sponsorships at all. We only rely on AdSense to generate revenues. Then that kind of neutrality is what defines a good analyst in the space. The analyst, of course, is not a perfect influencer here, because the blind spot for an analyst is if we are only focused purely on the price action, then there are certain projects that we will definitely miss, but from a fundamental value-driven perspective, there are certain projects that look very bad from a price action perspective, but from a valuation perspective, they are severely undervalued. Cardano, for example, when you look at its current valuation, it is very, very undervalued for what the technology is already bringing to the table. The problem is price action does not reflect that particular valuation for now. It is very similar to when Amazon fell by 95%. And when you actually watch interviews of Jeff Bezos during that time, he will be the first one to tell you that the price of the stock does not reflect the actual valuation of the company. Internally, they kept seeing that projects are being initiated, revenues keep growing, the user base keeps growing, and everything was really set up to blow up. However, if you only look at the stock price in order to determine a particular project's value, an analyst could miss that particular opportunity because there are certain fundamental aspects to account for when it comes to understanding its true valuation. So these are the 5 types of influencers in the crypto space. Some of them, of course, will be a mix of 2 or 3 of them, but there will be one dominant characteristic that you have to account for when dealing with these people. Generally, it is very good to follow multiple types of them, except of course your Moonboys and Mercenaries, because you need a balanced perspective across the 3. Even within a single type, let's say even in the analyst class, you still have to follow multiple people to give you the proper perspective as to what is happening in the market so you can make the decision accordingly. It is not enough to just follow one influencer per type. It is best that you follow people that you trust in the space who are having conversations with you for your benefit, not for their benefit. So with that in mind, happy exploring. Yo, before you go, like this video, subscribe, and share this video to your friends. Thank you very much and have a good day.